homework. It was time to submit it tomorrow. So two of them went to the senior Dada and said, boss, what can we do? So the senior Dada said, don't worry. Overnight they went, picked up 3 goats and let them loose inside the school. But before they let them loose inside the school, they numbered them 1, 2 and 4. They numbered the goats 1, 2 and 4. So the next morning, the first kid comes, he starts complaining there's a goat in the campus. The second kid says there's a goat in class. The third one again complains and the whole management starts looking into it. The teachers start searching and everybody starts and finds the 3 goats, 1, 2 and 4. But they had to declare a holiday because they couldn't find the third goat or the goat number 3. So the whole mission was accomplished because the goat number 3 could never be found till lunchtime. Well, the truth that we all know is there is no goat numbered number 3. But isn't that exactly how we live our life and our entrepreneurship? Always in the search for that missing goat. Now, how many of you agree to this statement and have used it extensively? If only I had. Put your hands up if you've said, if only I had more money, more time, more resources, more luck, a richer father-in-law. Right? So that is exactly the missing goat that we are going behind. We forget what we already have with us, which is our brain, our experience, and our ecosystem and network. We can't forget it. Right? So when you talk about entrepreneurship, it's not about funding. It's about customer, and how can I get my first customer? How can I start working on it? How can I build on it? How can I leverage and how can I grow? And then comes cash flow negotiation, which my speaking mentor JK will talk to you right after lunch. But those are the things that we need to be worried about rather than what I do not have in my pocket. Right? I will be peppering it with stories, but I would request all of you to stand up for me, please. Because one of the other things that Akila, the Taichan Executive Director, well, she's got a tough job on her hands. She's got 1,000+ members. And for the non-members of TAI, please talk to her about it. Now, she came and said, how can you awaken the audience? And that's exactly why I'm here for, because you own me for 30 minutes, I need an ROI. I own you for 30 minutes, you need an ROI. And that's only going to be possible when we are an attentive audience here. Now, you've got to follow me. My partner in crime, Harish, is missing. But then loosen up. Loosen up. Right. This is called a mudra. Can you have this? Yeah, both hands. And you got to repeat after me. Tak dinna din. Dinna din. Tak dinna din. Dinna. Lose your inhibition, guys. I'm here to talk about guerrilla marketing. And I need your energy. Tak dinna din. Dinna din. Tak dinna din. And do the step. Tak dinna din. Dinna din. Tak dinna din. Shameless. Come on. Loud. கொஞ்சம் பீட்டோட பண்ணுங்கப்பா 1 2 3 4 தக் தின்னா தின் தின்னா தின் தக் தின்னா தின் தின்னா தின் தக் தின்னா தின் தின்னா தின் தக் தின்னா தின். Thank you. Sit down now. That will ensure that none of you sleeps or even winks for the next 30 minutes because I own you. And if I catch you sleeping, you're not going to get any lunch. That comes down to the topic for the day. How can I market? How can I get customers when I don't have something? Well, you have your brain. There is something called guerrilla marketing or outlier marketing. Not the monkey gorilla, but guerrilla, as in warfare. How many of you have heard this term? Guerrilla marketing, frugal marketing, cashless marketing. Right? I'm going to talk to you about that for the next 25-30 minutes. And when you talk about marketing, thanks to JK for this division, when you talk about marketing, there are only 2 things that stand out. One is brand building and the other is lead generation. Right? All of us get caught. Before that, let me take a step back. Marketing is different from sales. Startup entrepreneurs, please read it up. Marketing is different from sales. So when you talk about, and I'm an evangelist, marketing is the mother of a company. Don't believe anybody who says otherwise. Marketing is the mother of the company, it's the Bible. Now, you've got lead generation and brand building. Come on, I'm a bootstrapped entrepreneur. I do not have the money to spend on brand building, but I've got all the time to spend on lead generation. So when we talk about marketing today for the next 25 minutes, I'm only going to talk about lead generation, customer acquisition. How can I get in front of a customer? How can I get that customer in front of me? That's it. That's the purview. I'm setting the boundary right here. And when you talk about outlier or guerrilla, what am I talking about? It is going beyond your thought process, thinking, how can I make it simpler? How can I make it absolutely simpler? And let me tell you a story of three brothers, all barbers having a saloon, and all of them having a saloon on the same street. All of them having a saloon on the same street. So the eldest brother says, the best barber in the world. The second brother says, best barber in the country. And the third youngest brother says, best barber in this street. As simple as that. So where will you go? A same example which was mailed to me by JK was a billboard that said, a huge building, Coca-Cola second floor. And right below, Pepsi had come and put, Pepsi everywhere. Right? What was the expense? It's just a thought. It is the need for us to break the shackles and think differently. That is guerrilla marketing. If only I had, well, you don't have. You don't have money, you don't have time, you don't have resources, you don't have a co-founder, you've got you. You've got the man in the mirror, and I'm here telling him to change his ways. Because that is exactly what is required. Low cost, no cost, smart thinking. Use everything that you have. And the example that I'm going to quote is the 1960s Vietnam War, when there were allies with greater manpower, muscle power, technology power that were attacking a small nation which did not have any of those. Now, they could have buckled and given up. But what they basically did, they said, listen, I know my country, I know my mountains, I know my greenery, and I'm going to use that to negate whatever strength these guys have. So they started digging tunnels. So they'll go, I'm not for warfare, guys, but I'm for osmosis. You familiar with osmosis? You've learnt it somewhere? That if somebody is doing it, how quickly can I copy and adapt it to my line of business? So this example of guerrilla warfare I'm giving because I have all these skills within me. The wall that I have is, oh, I can't do it. What will people say? I really cannot do it well. You've got a business to run, you've got cash flows to commit, you've got, if you have investors, all the best, because that is going to need a hell of a lot more. Now I'm going to give you a scenario here. It's a live scenario. It's a scenario of a company called BE Clean. It's not an app company, it's not a technology company. This company cleans toilets. This company cleans toilets. That's it. They've got a staff of 3 people and they want publicity, they want mileage, they don't have much money. Now, how can you help this company? It's a real company based in Madurai. Brick and mortar toilet cleaning company. Doesn't even have a website. So, what will you do if you have to do outlier marketing, guerrilla marketing for this company? Yes, sir. Lovely. Social service added to Swachh Bharat. Somebody else? Well, I'm going to come to you. Yes, sir. That's an active table. Lovely. Make an offer. Somebody from here. There's no right or wrong answer, guys. That's guerrilla.
Tie up with Harpic.
Tie up with a company. Harpic. Yes. Unreserved trained coach. The whole world will thank you then. Yes, sir.
So perhaps go to corporation schools and other primary schools and clean.
Right. Lovely. So, yes, sir. Yes. What this company did, there were 2 guerrilla marketing ideas that was pitched to them. One was to go to a crossroads, keep a dirty commode, before the signal turns from red to green, clean it up. But the second one, which was absolutely more effective, and I can tell you with more conviction because I had a talk with them yesterday, they've grown from 2 to 10 people full-time with a phenomenal amount of clients, both B2C and corporate. And what they did was took up a gated community with about 500 houses and started issuing pamphlets. In 24 hours, we're cleaning 500 houses or whatever toilets there are, 500 into 2 or 3 based on the BHK. They did a low-cost publicity drive, got a permission from the gated community secretary. 24 hours, they cleaned 485 houses, left with 180 plus subscriptions on an annual subscription basis. But that's not the icing. The icing is the people there were working in companies. Now houses you clean once a week, once a month, whatever, but offices need to be cleaned every day. So through this, they reached out to the people working in the company, reached out to admin, and now have now signed about 25 plus companies all inside Madurai. So the earlier panel was talking about prove it to me. They have proven it, they have got clients, they have grown, and now they are ready for funding. What did it cost them? It costed them 5,000 rupees in additional material, Harpic or whatever cleaning that they had to do, and about 2,500 more from a pamphlet printing and posting, and the press covered them, the Hindu covered them. This gave them enough mileage to go ahead and pitch in another competition where they won again, and now they are on a short list for a VC funding. All thanks to an innocuous guerrilla marketing idea that costed them 7,500 plus or minus 100. That is an example of practical guerrilla marketing that each of us can go ahead and try. But what's basically stopping us? Are you familiar with the 4x4 talk? 4x4 talk, South Indian culture, that's extremely important. 4x4. Now, who the hell are these 4 people and what are they going to talk? And if I have a cash flow problem, are they going to come and help me out? I have no idea. Then why should I bother about the surrounding community or the culture or the ecosystem that is preventing me from going ahead and boasting about what I do? Right? So if I've got a first rank, hey, don't tell anybody. What? So if I have a success, I shouldn't tell anybody? Come on. So we've got to break out of that culture, and that's absolutely, absolutely important for us to look into. Now let me get down to a couple of marketing basics here. A couple of marketing basics, very simple. Know your customer so well that you can start taking decisions like that person. And 2, how do you get that customer to come and taste you? Your product or your service, right? Are we clear? In basically, this is exactly what I'm trying to, how do you get in front? Now, I've got a question for you. You're right opposite Kalyan Jewelry, right? Now, who do you think is Kalyan Jewelry's competition? Joy Alucas, GRT, Lalita. Good. Now, take a step back. If my wife has 10 lakhs to splurge, she may choose to go to a Kalyan or a GRT. In that case, they are competition. But she may choose to go on a foreign junket. She may choose to sponsor my mother-in-law. God forbid she doesn't do that, but she may choose to sponsor my mother-in-law for a foreign tour. Or she may invest in a Louis Vuitton bag. Now tell me, who is the competition for Kalyan Jewellers? It is the wallet share. So when you are thinking about wallet share, am I coming first to mind? Right? That takes me back one more step. Who is my customer? What category am I addressing? And how well can I get to know my customer? I have got another example for that, because you've got demographics and you've got behavior. Now you come up with a product or a service. The gentleman out there I know has come up with a farming innovation tool. Now he might say that my customer is anybody in farming already in villages. Right? When I break it up slightly more, his customer segment may also include yuppies or the city bred guys who want to go back into farming, who may probably understand technology better. So you've already got 2 different classes of customer consumer segmentation that you're looking into. The other classic example that I love to give, washing machines. Have you any of you guys, have you used a washing machine? Yes? You've used a washing machine? How does it work? Can you make some noise? How does it work?
My washing machine doesn't make noise.
So he's got a servant maid at home. Yeah? Now, washing machine in China, how is it used and where is it used?
It's used in the tea area where they, where they chit chat. That's a common washing machine they use.
Right. That's a new learning thing for me. I did not know that.
Sure, I'm just giving you a...
Oh, you just, okay. Yes, sir.
It's been used for potato cleaning.
Yes, he's my man. They use it, some of the farmers use it to clean potatoes. When they take it out of the soil, it's full of dust and roots. They just dunk it into a washing machine. And this was found out when there were too many complaints coming during a particular season from the farming community. And then they found out that potatoes, which is why I'm coming to behavior. You say farmers are my customers, then behavior. You say this product is fit for them. How are they using that product? It's absolutely important for you to figure out, which comes down to how well do you know your customer. Now, getting in front, there's just so much noise. Today's decision maker is worse than my teenage daughter, because they are balancing quite a lot of things. How do you break through that clutter? You've got to do something different. It is idiocy. This has been attributed in Facebook from Albert Einstein to Abraham Lincoln to everybody, but let's just focus on the message. It is idiocy to continue to do the same thing again and again and expect a different result. Right? Simple logic. So, when you come and say, how many of you have complained? Sir, I have emailed that guy several times, he's not responding. Sir, I have called him 20 times, his secretary is not giving me a possibility to go and meet him. How many of you have done that? Thank you. The rest of you are not in business at all, because any entrepreneur here is a salesperson. You've got to put on the marketing hat, right? So how do you address it? How do you ensure that you, your service, your brand comes in front of them? You break the walls. You break the walls that you have built. You start thinking differently. Mati Yosi. In Hindi, it's called Ulta Soch. Think differently. Completely turn it around. And that is when you... Now, this is an idea that I pitched to my management team. It was shot down. See, you want to reach this particular manufacturer, and you've tried brochures, you've tried emailing, you've tried meeting them in conferences. It's not worked out. What is it that you can do differently? So the idea that was put forth was rejected, saying, how is it possible? The receptionist will not allow, the security guard will not allow. It's not possible. It will lead to a bad name, etc. Well, entrepreneurs, guerrilla marketing, there's only one way to find out, which is to do. And you've got to go big, you've got to go bold. This is what was done, much stronger version, pasted on the reception, addressed to the CMO, right? The company is not important, though it's one of mine, but the idea is, such a big banner in the reception, addressed to a CMO, every person in the company is going to have a look at it, and the CMO necessarily looked into it and saying, interesting, without paying, these guys are doing this kind of work, I'd like to talk to them. Isn't that the purpose? That's a board, but come on, it's the same brochure in a much bigger format. The same thing has also been done by, thank you. The same thing has also been done in a resume part. Anybody who's recruited people, I'm not getting the right kind of creative people. You're not getting the right kind of creative people because they're coming up with the same cyclo-style templated resume that you're giving it. How many of you have seen people who come up with video resumes, infographic resumes? Come on, we recruit people. We need that creativity inside the company. But we still rely on that same templated part of it. Where are we going to go? Right? Some of the ideas here belong to JK, my speaking mentor. Some are from me and from learning. Now, when you give a brochure to a person, thank you JK. When you give a brochure to a person, what do? They keep it aside. So how do you gain their attention? This is also osmosis, a learning from movie, translated through my mentor to me, to you. Now you've got something on your table. You've got something on your table. Right? What does this do? If I give it straight away, you may or may not read it. But if I hide it, your curiosity comes to play. Right or wrong? So you will remember what happened, you'll remember where it happened, and what to do or whom to contact when you need your old pictures to be saved. Right or wrong? What do I mean by unconventional, non-traditional thinking? How many of you have been to the toilet today? If not, after the loop, please go city. What was that phone? Your Xiaomi or Oppo, which said, I will only give a limited amount. Now, what I want you to do is bend under and check beneath your seat to see if there's something in. Go ahead, do it, guys. Lift your chair and look. Yep, but the bag is not there for every chair. Only a few chairs have it. Right? What happens? Immediately the other guys, the brain starts thinking, damn it, why didn't I get it? I should have sat in that seat. Right? The second thing is, what is that? And you start craning your, isn't it? Right? What I'm trying to do is something that we do every day in our life. How many of you drive? How many of you drive in this lovely city of Chennai? Right? Now let us take this, and I'm sure you will agree, if you agree, raise your hand, that you're driving at a sedate 30-35 kilometer pace until some bloke comes to the right side, and immediately you press on the accelerator because you don't want them to overtake. Do you do that or not? Right? Do the same damn thing in your business, because if that's competition, there's something called point of differentiation. What I'm doing here are examples of points of differentiation that you got to keep thinking. So today I've done the back thing, tomorrow you will do it some other place, there'll be 4 other people copying it. Which means I've always got to be on my toes to find out what new can I do, how much more can I do, where can I do, how big on a scale can I do it. Right? There was another t-shirt company that came asking for guerrilla marketing ideas. It's a t-shirt company. We suggested, why don't you go ahead, have, how many of you been to Besanaga Car Free Sundays? Please give it a shot. Phenomenal crowd. So the guerrilla marketing idea that we given to them, huge t-shirts, because they wanted to do A/B testing, which design is good, which is not bad. And you got to think beyond digital, guys. Remember, you are appealing to a human being. You're not appealing to a bot, which means if I'm selling something, I'm appealing to Babu. He's a fellow human being, I assume. Yeah. So please put that emotion in. When you have two huge t-shirts and you want to look at it, another company that I've proposed to Saurav Jain, who's a speaker later in the day, he's a content marketing company, and my idea to them was run a Twitter-sized competition, a Twitter-sized story writing competition, right? In 140, 160 characters, can you write a story? Can we compile the story? Can we publish that? Right? Can one of you try it? A story in...
Dr. Tarun had tried it in a literary festival.
I see.
Yeah, sometime back, 2-3 months ago.
Very nice. I don't mind, I didn't know that, but I don't mind copying it, adapting it, and using it to serve my purposes. But thank you. Thank you. Please keep them coming because I'm learning as you are. Anybody wants to take a shot? 140 character story. Right? Some that I have coined as a seed. A man met a woman. The end. Right? As some examples, because these are, as I would say, behind every successful man there is a woman with a raised eyebrow. Right? So this, you've got to bring in a wit, you've got to bring in humor, you've got to bring in that something different so people start noticing. If that is not marketing, what is? You've got to go big, you've got to go bold, you've got to think unconventional, put it in action. The first thing that comes in, my team will not approve it. What will people say? What will I do? Remember my statement, everybody is a salesman. It doesn't matter what designation you are, or whether you are a CEO of a company or not, you've got to constantly be selling. Now, if you can't even sell your idea to your own management, why are you going behind customers who don't even know you? Logic, plain logic, right? So all of us need to have that hunger, which is exactly what we are having right now. But you've got to have that hunger to keep going. What else are you looking at? Now, you may ask me, can you give me some ingredients? What can I do? How can I build it? When I go out of here, how can I tap into guerrilla marketing? Well, use your common sense. It's a bit rare these days, but you can go ahead and use that common sense to find out if this is what my competition A, B, C, D are doing. I am not going to ape that, I'm going to do something different. But I'm going to do that something different. You do that by ideating. When you ideate, you put on the ideator hat, you take off the critique hat. Because the first thing that you do is you come up with a new idea and your own brain starts contradicting it. So when you ideate, and then you go right ahead, evaluate and execute it. Bring it back, tweak it, take it to another level. Now, for example, if that crumpled paper idea is a success here, I will take it to Tycon where I have 2,000 people coming in. That's happening on November 3rd and 4th and 5th, by the way. How do I scale it? And then what is it that I can add that makes it different, that makes it noticeable? But this is not about Facebook likes guy. This is about lead generation leading straight into my sales funnel so that I can go ahead and convert it into cash that I can reuse. So if any social media guy comes and says, I'll get you 1,000 Facebook likes, sir, what the hell is that going to mean to me? Is that getting converted into sales, into proposals, into discussions, negotiation, closure? Right after lunch, we're going to have a session on negotiation. But we are doing all this for lead generation, for revenue generation, and therefore that has to be an ROI. And that's a question that you need to ask every time you loop. Is there an ROI? In research, there's something called A/B testing. You've got design A, you've got design B. How do you do that? How do you find out? I'll give you an example. The first time when I went to the US, now I've got a unique foot problem. It's called a bunion. Part of my leg swells out, which means I can only get proper shoes in the US. So the first time I went, my friend who knew about the problem took me to a warehouse, a huge warehouse, and I just went aping mad. So I went and picked up everything that was in my size. I'm 11 4E in case any of you want to gift me something. I prefer New Balance. So I picked up these 10 pairs, and then my friend and I were wondering, how am I going to narrow it down? Now this was still before the VC craze. I didn't have that much money. I could only afford one pair, or my wife would allow me to afford only one pair at that particular point in time. So I was, as all of us, how am I going to decide? And this sales guy, he came and said, don't worry, sir, I'll help you out. He put one design on my left and one design on my right. Say, go take a walk and come. Between these two, you decide, A or B. So I decided on A, he changed B. And we whittled it down to 2 pairs, and it was easier to make a decision from 2 pairs rather than 10 pairs. Right? So when you ideate, you've got to use this example called A/B testing, which is how you go to the market and test. How do you test? You test it on a smaller loop, right? Now let us, how many of you ladies watch cooking programs? Cooking development programs? Only one. I need you to talk to my mom and my wife. Yeah? Now, but let's assume you're trying out a new recipe. Do you try it out for the whole family, or extended family? No, you try it out for yourself. Then you try it out for the rest of in the house, and then you try it out for your colony, isn't it? Why should guerrilla marketing tactic be any different? You try it out in a localized way. It works, doesn't work. You write it down. How can I tweak it to make it better? You try it out another way. So the ingredients: common sense, ideation, and doing it. But there are three words that I would love to leave you with. Three simple words. 1, get smarter. 2, think different. And 3, please go unconventional. What are you going to achieve by just going ahead being conventional? Who are you trying to satisfy? So I'm here imploring that when you leave this place, your head has to be full of ideas that you're going to execute. You're not just going to think about it, you're going to put that thought into practice. Get smarter, smarter thinking, be different, go unconventional, but stay agile, which is you don't plan a guerrilla marketing tactic for 2 years. You plan it for a week, maybe even less, try it out in one event and take it forward to the next. Right? That's basically what I wanted to cover. You've got to think different. Now, will you go ahead, folks, because I need an ROI, will you go ahead and try? Will you go ahead and try? Please do not. There is a do or a do not, there is no try. So go ahead, be a guerrilla marketer. That will help your cash flow, that will bring you more customers. Thank you, folks. Any question? I'll take one question and the rest I'm available the rest of the day. I can take it offline. Yes, sir. JK. JK. Lovely. And he is my mentor. You can take a question. You are selling to a human being. You are selling to a person with emotion. They will respond to wit, humor, and differentiation. So please, whatever category you are selling to a human.